Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you. Welcome to Bayou Sports Talk. I'm your moderator, Kenny K, and welcome to the show. I would like to get the panel to introduce themselves. Go right ahead, starting with Coach.
It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den basketball community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. For those individuals that didn't know, Southern University is going to play their spring game next Saturday at 3 p.m. I'll be broadcasting live from the spring game. So check it out next Saturday.
All right. Go ahead, Rue.
Okay. It's your boy Rudy Harvey, the best cook on the planet. Sports talk. Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, the big coach. Got a little something going on live from the chef pit, you know. You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
My bad, I'm sorry. Back at 5, you can hear me. Morning, Rudy Harvey. Shout out, cooking, service. That's good. Let's get straight to the topics.
All right, all right. Well, we're going to dive straight in and we have some interesting topics. We're going to start right down in the NO, represent Louisiana. We're going to talk about the health of Zion Williamson. So, Rue, bring us into this. Tell me what you think about Zion Williamson. They say he is supposed to be coming back. What do you think?
I think he's gonna come back if they make a player tournament. Right now, they're not gonna risk it too much on the line. They've been playing some high basketball in the past week. So Alvarado coming back this. You can hear me?
You're cutting in and out.
I don't need to rush his injury. I think you do need to let them play like he playing. As long as he.
Okay, Rue is having some technical difficulties on his end. So we're gonna swing back to him. Coach, can you elaborate for us?
Well, basically, like Ruth said, if they make the play-in tournament, I think he'll try to come back. But at this junction of the season, if I was the Pelicans,
Why they
Pelicans
want to?
brass and David Griffin, if it was just me, I would shut him down. I would shut him down for the remainder of the season. At this particular point, there's no need in risking further injury. At this point, he's injury prone. He's only averaged about 27 games played per season. Each season, he only averages 27 games. So he's often injured during the course of his career. So if I were the Pelicans, I wouldn't even risk him getting hurt or injured or anything of that nature. If I was them, I would just shut him down for the remainder of the season. And basically, I would just look forward to next season because at this point, it's obvious and transparent that he needs to get the weight down to remain healthy. Every time he comes and he plays well. He plays exceptionally well. However, he's constantly getting hurt. He's constantly getting injured. So hopefully they can shut him down for the remainder of the year. They could see any specialist that he may need to see. And basically, whenever he sees this specialist, hopefully they can figure out what they can do Me personally, I think is a weight issue, not necessarily his percentage of body fat, but actual weight. So if he could get down to maybe about 250, maybe he could stay on the court and quit constantly getting hurt and getting injured. But until that particular point in time, every time they bring him back, he's going to constantly keep getting hurt. He's going to keep getting injured. I mean, it's a repetitive pattern at this point. So hopefully we can end this perpetual cycle of him constantly getting hurt, constantly getting injured. Hopefully he can come in at a decent weight, or maybe they could figure out some way to prevent him from getting injured in the future. And hopefully he could stay healthy, because the West is wide open at this particular point in time. You know, with the West being wide open, if he were healthy and Brandon Ingram were healthy and all the other core players, excuse me, if all those core players were healthy, there's no doubt in my mind they'll be one of the top teams in the West, if not the top team in the West. So hopefully they could just shut him down and figure out a way to keep him healthy and the team flourishing and prospering. Because if he can stay healthy, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, Jose Alvarado, Larry Nance Jr., those guys, I mean, the Pelicans, I think, would be the top team in the West. But the way they, excuse me, the way they're presently constructed, he's going to keep getting injured, and it's going to continuously be a problem. So I say just shut him down for the remainder of the season, and that way, you know, you can prevent future injuries moving forward, hopefully.
Okay, Rue, are you there? Okay, it seems as he's still having some technical difficulties. Okay, are you there? Would you like to chime in? You have it on mute.
Okay, hold on. Hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you now.
I say I kind of agree with everything Coach says. It's to the point you might well sit him down for the season. But if you make it in a playing game, I think if he's ready, I think you should give him a shot. Because if you put him in a playing game, he just make your team that much better. There's one guy, like he catch everybody's eyes on the floor. So if you got a chance to put him in a playing game and let him play against somebody like the Clippers, the Timberwolves, to the Jazz, to the Oklahoma City, even the Los Angeles Lakers, you know, he just that dominant to the game. So if you put him in and letting him play, I think he's a big impact. Even if he don't go that hard, he's still an impact on the floor because the kind of guy he is, how dominant he is as a big man, and he can also play the point, run the ball handling skill. So if you get a chance to make the playing game, yeah, I'll let him play. But if they don't make the playing game, then yeah, you set him down for the rest of the season. That's my take on that situation.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I agree with Rue 100%, because I mean it's clear at this point he's a superstar of that team. I mean, Brandon Ingram is a star, Brandon Ingram is a dog, but Zion is the spoon that stirs the pot. I mean, he's that guy, So he the catalyst player, and the rest of the team kind of feeds off of him. So I think when he got injured earlier this season, that's why everything just kind of went by the wayside, because they know he's the best player on that team. So I think Rue brings up a very excellent point. He the best player on the team.
He's the best player on the team, but also the kind of player you got in Brandon Ingram, he can make things go too. But the thing about Brandon Ingram, what I felt Coach Green on this, like I don't think he's using him right. Like last year when they played the Suns, and you could watch them highlights. Like you couldn't stop dude. You couldn't stop him. The fadeaway, turn around, pick and pop, you couldn't stop that. So I think they need to go to more of that than one-on-one basketball. Like sometimes you gotta strategize the things you need to do to make your team better. You know, don't if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So if you going feed him in the ball in low post and let him shoot the turnaround, that's good as cash right there every time, Jim. That's a little old school basketball. People trying to
Yeah.
get away from that. If you can't stop that, man, why not? That's my answer on that. And yeah, Zion is the best player on the team, but Brandon Ingram got some strengths that people can't stop neither. I don't care who you is. Once you got it back to the basket, it's more like cash, money.
Oh,
Every
oh,
time
I
he,
agree
every
100%.
time he, and you can let CJ Alvarado facilitate, and you need Alvarado because that's your energy. That's the kind of player that give you the energy coming off the bench, making plays. Herb Jones, everybody they counter each other. So if all these players get the rolling on footballs, forgive me, basketball, it's hard to stop. They are the best team in the West.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with you 100%. And shout out to the brother in the chat. Jay Good was good with you, bro. But just to kind of elaborate on your point, I mean, that's an excellent point. I mean, his mid-range game, his back to the basket game, his fadeaway game, I mean, is excellent. It seems like when Zion is not in, like you said, they like to play more ISO basketball. And in addition to them trying to ISO all the time, Brandon Ingram, he seemed like he kind of wants to be ball dominant at times also too. So, like he said, I think everybody should kind of play their natural role. Whereas, you get somebody facilitating, like maybe a Jose Alvarado, CJ McCollum, whoever the case may be. You get somebody facilitating and you run actual offense as opposed to just ISOing every play. I mean, I think the only team I really saw that won a championship, being an ISO heavy team was the Cavaliers that beat the Golden State Warriors. But other than that, every ISO team, even with Jordan, as great as a one-on-one player as he was, until Phil Jackson really implemented the triangle offense, they really didn't have the success that they should have had. So, you really gotta run offense. You just can't get out here and just ISO and play one-on-one. So whether it's pick and roll, pick and pop, post entry, running the post game, a post up type offense. You have to run some type of offense. You just can't get out here and just play one-on-one every play.
Okay, well, since we're bringing that up, let's just talk about the Pelicans playoff update as a whole. The Pelicans, we don't, I don't foresee them doing anything more than what they are. So, guys, what do you think, Coach?
Well, man, me personally, I'm gonna be truthful. At this point, I don't even think they're gonna make the playing game. I mean, they're kind of up and down type team without that stability of Zion and Brandon Ingram and all their core pieces healthy and together. Truthfully speaking, I don't think they have enough going in their direction for them to make the playing tournament. And like Drew often says, part of that kind of falls on Willie Green, like he brought up earlier from a X's and O's standpoint. Like you really have to run offense. You just can't ISO every play. You got to put players in a best, in the best role for them. That's where you can maximize what they can do. So having Brandon Ingram, pretty much be the focal point of your offense. You don't need him bringing the ball up. You don't need him ISOing every play. If you could actually run offense and get him the ball where, he can score the ball and run the offense through him, I think offensively they'll be, a whole lot better than what they are right now. So, truthfully speaking, the way they're trending, they're inconsistent. They can win one night, they can win one night and lose the next night. I really don't see them making the playing tournament. I hope I'm wrong, but at this point, I really don't see it happening. So hopefully they can make it. But truthfully speaking, I mean, you don't have much. You might have like maybe a month left until the playoffs actually start. So I really don't see them making it. But I hope I'm wrong though.
Well, actually, you got less than a month. They only got 10 games left. And from my point on that, I think they can make it. I think they can make it. The scales are kind of a little soft right now. So as it's soft, they need to win all the games they can win. And if they're winning them games, there's no doubt they're in. Because all the other teams in the West going against each other, and long as one win tonight, the next one lose tonight, we started climbing the pole. We started going up. Right now we in the ninth spot, and I think we probably gonna make it to the seventh spot. Kind of get a little home, kind of play in New Orleans, kind of get that little home feeling, that little home cooking. A little gumbo. and we can roll with that. Slow it down with BI, play our pace of basketball. I think we could be good, bro. Because you gotta realize we did it without Zion last year. We still need that same run. I think we can do it. Sometimes it takes you gotta believe in yourself. Sometimes you gotta do an extra step, an extra mile. You feel me? As long as we do what we gotta do, and we on a 2-game, 3-game winning streak right now, and we could get a 4, 5-game winning streak, maybe 6, 7, maybe we could get that push. We could play a team like Denver right now and beat them. I think we got enough pieces to beat them. Yeah, I mean, you got the Joker. You got the Joker. Yeah, he's a triple-double factor. But at the same time, I think he could be slowed down. Jamal Murray, he could be slowed down. Michael Porter Jr., he stays hurt a lot. So, they got a good lot of veterans on that team, but, they start with their star player. And right now, as you can see, our star player out. And we still handling up business, even though we fell for down in the pool, that we shouldn't even be right to the top of the playing game. We should be easily number 1, 2, or 3 as of right now. But as that said, bro, we might well just get our Pelicans ball, get in the playing tournament, and play ball, bro, like we normally did. Like last year, we stole the show. We was the show last year. Even against a Phoenix Suns team that we ain't had a shot. I remember last year in the postseason, they're going to sweep the Pelicans. I don't even know why they got in. And we took them almost to a 7-game series. So we could hang with any team in the league. We are that deep. We just got to get together and play ball like we used to play. Get on that same page. If we could do that, then yes, we are that team.
Okay, so tell me, what do you think overall about our odds? Not just against the West, but overall, if we were to go further, do you think the Pelicans can even perhaps win the championship? Rue, what do you think?
No, not right now. We're not healthy enough right now. I mean, a healthy team like the beginning of the season, yeah, we were that team, but Zion been hurt, Rado been hurt, even Allen, Larry Nance been hurt, he been out, Herb Jones.
A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries slowing us down, and even though them guys still young, got a lot of time together, and I like how the Pelicans signing them guys before their contract really hit, getting them nice little keeping them on track for this team, because this team is for the long haul too. And at the same time, you got success now. So, saying that, to say this, not this year, main reason, our man Zion. We don't know if he's gonna be able to come back or not. Who knows? But right now, no. But if we get in a playing tournament, well, we face in the first round, I believe we'll give them a run for their money. But I think if we do get in the playoff, we'll be one and done, first round and out.
What about you, Coach?
Well,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Rue brought up a lot of valid points from the standpoint of first going back to what he said earlier in terms of last year, they had it going at the right time. I think the difference between last year and this year is he's right. They kind of getting a little momentum going. But last year, I think kind of CJ McCollum gave him a shot in the arm. And, by CJ McCollum giving him that shot in the arm, it kind of propelled them to kind of get 1 win and 2, then getting a winning streak. Then they got hot at the right time. They beat both the Spurs and the Clippers leading into the play-in tournament. And then they beat those 2 teams and actually made the playoffs. And then many people thought they were going to get swept by the Phoenix Suns. And they actually, got 2 wins, and they gave the Phoenix Suns all they wanted. So that's last year. But in terms of right now, even if they did get in the play-in tournament and they actually made it into the playoffs, I think Rue was right. I don't think they can go too far. And Raymond kind of brought up an excellent point last week in terms of, Damian Lillard. He had an interview with J.J. Redick, and basically he was saying he don't like what the league has become. And what he meant by that is the fact that all the focus is on just simply on winning the championship. It's like no matter whatever else you do, if you don't win the championship, like your career is pointless. Basically it was a wasted career. And, he's saying it shouldn't be like that. And that's the reason why, Nowadays, you have all these super teams. Basically, it kind of started with the Heatles, with LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. We all kind of got together on one team, so they can improve their chances, increase their chances of winning a championship. And basically, I think the thing that he brought up is kind of valid from the standpoint of, like, back in the day, teams had to go through their growing pains. Basically, the Detroit Pistons, they had to go through the Boston Celtics, then the Lakers to eventually become a championship team, and then the Bulls. The Bulls had to go through the Pistons over and over again. Then they finally got over that hurdle. Then they became a championship team. So a team like the Pelicans, they're real young in the game. Injuries has been an issue. So even if they were 100% healthy, I think they could make a deep playoff run. But you kind of have to go through your growing pains. Even with the even with the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors had their issues early in their career with the Clippers and other teams. So you have to kind of go through those growing pains. And they're still a young team. Even if Zion can stay healthy and Brandon Ingram and all their core players, you just can't win a championship like right away. You kind of actually have to go through that playoff grind and that playoff struggle. You have a failure this year and then a failure the next year and then failure the year after that. And eventually you build yourself up to the point where you're a championship caliber team, and eventually you break through that glass ceiling. And once you win that championship, you're going to kind of, as long as you stay healthy, you're going to be a championship contender like year in and year out. So, that's where the Pelicans eventually need to get where, they stay healthy and they make those deep playoff runs. And, they fail for a few years, fail for a couple of years. Then eventually they bust through and they break through the glass ceiling and eventually win the championship and become a perpetual championship contending team.
Okay, so let's look at the playoff. Any contenders. Who do you think will be the championship team? Who will be that championship team that will win it all? That's going home with that championship. Rue, who do you think? Do you think it's the Warriors? Do you think it's possibly the Brooklyn? Who could it be?
I'm gonna jump in. Seems like we were a little preoccupied. Me personally, I think the West is wide open. A lot of people saying the Phoenix Suns. I'm not a big Phoenix Suns fan, and you got to realize, they just added Kevin Durant, Chris Paul. He's an older player. At a certain point in the playoffs, either he may get hurt or get injured, or his body may start to break down. So, you kind of have to take into consideration with Chris Paul, with Devin Booker, with Kevin Durant, with DeAndre Ayton, even with all those pieces, I still don't think they have that chemistry. I don't think they've played enough games together to be a championship contender team. A lot of people talk about the Denver Nuggets, but, the Joker, he's a good player, but I think he's a little bit overrated. Me, myself, even though he's a back-to-back league MVP, I think really without Jamal Murray and Jamal Murray being at the top of his game, I don't think the Denver Nuggets are as good even with the Joker. And basically the West is just wide open. Now, if I had to pick one team out the East, I would say I would go with the Milwaukee Bucks. They've already won a championship. And then I think after the Bucks, I think you maybe go with the Boston Celtics. And then after them, maybe, I don't know, the 76ers. So in the East, I probably would say the Bucks. The Bucks, the Celtics, the 76ers. But out West, the West is completely just wide open. So if I had to pick one team to win the championship now, of course, this is barring injury. Because, that's one thing you really can't take into consideration. Injuries, in many instances, your core player, your top player could get hurt, and that could kind of just kill your championship chance. I mean, you can look at the Pelicans, for example. I think with the West being as wide open as it is, if Zion Williams would be healthy, I mean, I think they're they'll be like clear cut, like one of the top teams in the West. But without him being healthy, it's kind of they struggling to make the playing tournament, and that's not just the Pelicans. There's any team, if the best player on that particular team goes down, that team might not even make the playoffs. Because for example, once Jordan retired, the Bulls went from a championship team to just making the playoffs, and they didn't even get out the first round. I mean, even with Scottie Pippen being, a perennial first team all defender and a two-way player, like without Jordan, they weren't the same team. So, barring injury, I'll probably say the Milwaukee Bucks is the top team in the NBA. That's the team I predict to win the championship. So, we'll see how things play out. The Greek Freak and Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and the rest of those guys get going. I think they'll be the team to beat. And even with the Bucks, I think the reason why they didn't win the championship last year was because Chris Middleton got hurt during the playoff run. I think in the first round of playoffs. I mean, Holiday and the rest of those guys, they were good, but without him, they couldn't beat the Boston Celtics. So being healthy is key, but if I had to pick one team to win the championship, I would say the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, so we lost Ruth. So let me ask you this, and I'm looking at a little bit of some of the players and some of the teams that may have, who pretty much have a good record. Because I look at like we're underestimating the 76ers. They have a good record. They are 49-24, and there aren't too many teams that have a good record like that. Because I even look at the Warriors; they are 39-36. And even the Suns, they are 38-35. So the 76ers, they're doing a pretty daggone good job. But I look at also with Ben Simmons hurt, Brooklyn, I don't think they really have a chance in making the, with making the finals. Yes, let alone being the championship team. But what do you think? Because I think people are underestimating the 76ers, and since even with Brooklyn lost a lot of their key players with Kyrie Irving and with Kevin Durant. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I think in terms of the Brooklyn Nets, I don't think the Brooklyn Nets even have a shot because, like you said, without KD and Kyrie, they're not a championship contending team. So Ben Simmons is not. If he was a Ben Simmons like early in his career with the 76ers, I would say cool. But once he had the mental health issues and they couldn't beat the Hawks, and the Hawks, ended up beating them in the playoffs. And then he had the issue with Doc Rivers, and then he sat out a good portion of last season, and he finally came back this year after they traded him to the Brooklyn Nets. I don't even consider Brooklyn. Now, in terms of the 76ers, I think it kind of depends on Joel Embiid. Like Ru said last week, he's one of the front runners to win the MVP. In fact, if I had to pick anyone this year and both last year, in fact, I thought he played better than Joker last year. I thought he should have been a league MVP. So he's my front runner winning league MVP. I think James Harden, had he been the James Harden that was in Houston, like a prime James Harden, I would say, I would pick the 76ers to beat the Bucks because with Harden and Joel Embiid, I think basically they're the top team in the East. But, Joel Embiid has had his playoff struggles. And in addition to Joel Embiid having his playoff struggles, the fact that, Embiid has struggled because last year he had it going in the playoffs, and then Embiid got hurt. And even though they lost to the Miami Heat, it wasn't just because, the Miami Heat was just that much better than them. It was because Embiid wasn't 100%. And like I said, James Harden, he's not the James Harden of old. So that's the reason why I say the best team in the East in terms of being a championship contender is the Bucks, because they've already won a championship. And, with Giannis, the Greek Freak, and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and that cast of players being healthy, they're that team. But Joel Embiid is a beast, but Harden isn't what he once was. And the 76ers, you can forget it. But without KD and Kyrie, they're not even a factor.
Real? So my question basically was.
I gotta disagree with you on the East. Man, I'm telling you, bro. I'm gonna tell you a team that's gonna shock a lot of people. Cleveland and the Celtics. Because Donovan Mitchell, bro, he's playing lights out right now, bro. It's hard to stop the guy, bro. They look like they're clicking in all the right spots right now as a Cleveland Cavalier. And that's what I got coming out of the East.
The Cavs?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You got, bro, one thing with basketball, you got to come with an upset. You're not going to be the upset.
I mean, you
got Jared Allen to protect the rim. You got Jared Allen to protect the rim. Huh?
Oh, you cut out for a minute. Say that again.
Hey, hello?
No, we can hear you. You cut out for a minute.
In my sleep. Yeah, I said the Cavaliers got Jared Allen and Mobley, Garland, got all these guys, even the bench. So that's my sleeper. My bad, I'm going to correct myself now. Real team is the Celtics. It's a light-skinned brother here this year. Even last year, the light-skinned brother. Shout out to my dog, Tatum. You heard me? Tatum going to hold it down, bro. The man to play or watch.
Well, you cut out for a minute. I did say the Celtics. You had cut out. So I said the Bucks, then the Celtics.
Oh, I heard you say that. Oh, hey, bro. Giannis don't want no smoke. Giannis don't want no smoke. Hey,
well, look. See, that's the thing about it. Chris Middleton didn't play last year when they played against the Celtics. So it's going to be healthy if you could get a healthy Celtics team and a healthy Bucks team 100% on both ends. It's going to be interesting. I mean, in that particular scenario, I'll take the Bucks in 7 over a healthy Celtics team.
Lopez going to freeze up. Drew Holiday going to throw all them shots up from half court like you Steph Curry. Middleton, tell him cut that hell of a head anyway. That line so far back there, man. He can cut that off, man. He can ball now. Hey, brother, it's a light-skinned brother here, man. I'm telling you, watch out for my dog Tatum.
All right, so who you got coming out the West then?
Man, another light-skinned brother, Steph Curry. He's a light-skinned year this year. Shout out to my dog Patrick Mahomes. Steph won it last year. The Splash brother, man. It's gonna be a rematch.
Yeah, I disagree with that one. I got the Bucks coming out the East.
All right, then keep believing in Giannis.
I mean, Giannis already got a championship. In fact, I'm sorry, I'm the championship Jason Tatum got.
He's going this is year right here. Are you paying attention? It's a light-skinned brother year, dog.
I hear you, man. I hear you, man.
Tatum, go get your jersey. I'm gonna buy you one. Jason Tatum, dog.
No. The only jersey I need is Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram.
And a retired Southern player.
Oh yeah, no, I got some Southern jerseys now.
Okay, guys. So let's kind of change the narrative of things and move on to New Orleans Saints. What do you think, guys? I mean, we have the free agency. So, and what our update on that, Coach, lead us in that.
Sure.
Well, I mean, to be truthful, I mean the Saints, they've been making a lot of good moves. Of course, we know they weren't going to be able to keep everybody. Excuse me. Like Ru said last week, Marcus Callaway, he ended up leaving the Saints. So in that regard, you wasn't going to be able to keep everybody. So, but I mean, they've been making some good moves. The guy that went to LSU, I can't think his name. He played with Derek Carr in terms of being a tight end. He played with him. He visited early this week. They was trying to sign him. He had a physical, and in the physical, they discovered that he has cancer. So he won't be able to play for the Saints. But I mean, outside of that, the Saints, they've been doing an excellent job. in terms of, the players they're picking up. Of course, it all kind of starts with Derek Carr. Everybody really, they've been kind of high on that signing. I mean, at this point, he's clearly the best player in terms of quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the NFC South. So, that was a good pickup. And of course, they've been getting, a lot of good signings. They brought Malcolm Roach back. So it's obvious he's going to be a starter at defensive tackle at this point. They got a safety Jonathan Abraham. They ended up getting an offensive tackle, Storm Norton. They ended up getting Lonnie Johnson Jr. at DB. They went and got, of course, they let go safety Justin Evans. So just to kind of wrap it up for the most part, the Saints, they've been picking up like a lot of players that could kind of add depth to their team. So on the offensive side, of course, you got Derek Carr quarterback. Alvin Kamara, he's going to probably be suspended maybe half or not the entire season. But you got Williams is kind of like your short yardage running back. More than likely, probably going to draft him a running back. On the offensive line, you got, you can start in the middle. You got Will Clapp. You got Cesar Ruiz. Andrews Petey restructured his contract. Ryan Ramczyk at right tackle. Hopefully Trevor Penning, he could come along. They re-signed Juwan Johnson at tight end. He's not really an inline tight end. He's more of a wide receiver that they converted to tight end. So he's a receiving tight end. You can flex him out wide, whatever the case may be. Michael Thomas, he's been injury prone the last few years once he got his big contract. But they were able to get him on like an incentive-laden contract for 1 year. Chris Olave was their top receiver this past year. Of course, Rashid Shaheed, he had a big year towards the end of the year. So it's obvious that they're probably going to get another tight end, maybe another offensive lineman, and another wide receiver. And on the defensive side, they're probably going to need another defensive tackle because even with Street and Roach, they're probably going to need another D tackle, probably another outside linebacker, maybe another safety, maybe another couple safeties, even though they picked up a safety to replace Justin Evans. So for the most part, they've been making a lot of good free agent signings, but more than anything, they've just kind of been adding depth. Like Ramsey Jr. said last week, they've been adding depth to their team, so they could be deep at every position. Now, in terms of P.J. Williams, Rue and Raymond last week, they were talking about P.J. Williams. At this point, it looks like they just kind of may let P.J. Williams walk, or maybe they just might pick up another DB in the draft. So at this point, the Saints have a solid team. I think they're going to be in the driver's seat in terms of the NFC South. But like Rue said last week, I think they're going to need a couple major weapons on the offensive side. Not only to be a team that's going to make the playoffs and win the NFC South, but to be a championship contender and to come out the NFC. I think they're going to need a big-time tight end or a big-time wide receiver, somebody that can kind of take the pressure off Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed and those players on the offensive side of the ball. And in terms of the defense, they just kind of need to, add some more impact players. Basically, in terms of the draft, they need to have a draft similar to 2017 in terms of being able to hit big on a player like Lattimore, a player like Ramczyk, a player like Kamara. And they could get maybe 3 like major impact players, probably on a couple on each side of the ball. I think that'll elevate them to being a team that's going to make the playoffs to a team that could potentially win the NFC and maybe win the Super Bowl.
Rue, you want to go ahead and jump in and do you agree with Coach, or what are your thoughts? You're on mute, Rue.
Oh, I agree to a certain extent. I don't think you really need that many pieces. But that means you got to hit on every pick you got. So I think if you just come up in the plus side on a tight end, so if you get a good tight end, you can get through that. Maybe a receiver that that you might just strung across. But your main point is you need some young legs back there in the secondary, and you need another defensive tackle, which I don't think this draft here is good as defensive tackles, but maybe you could throw a rock in the ocean. Man, you never know. But you need maybe two safeties off the back, two young legs that'll just come out of nowhere and make plays. So what you got now, you ain't got John Abraham. That's kind of another safety that you got already with the 100 and Mays, kind of on the back end of his career. So that means you got three safeties that's kind of on the back end of their career. You kind of need some young legs back there. And while you getting a push up front, you need some young legs up in the secondary. That dude, Lonnie Johnson, I think that was a great pickup right there. A cornerback, because you could be a nickel or dime. So that was a nice pickup. Linebacker, you know what you got at Davis. Warner, he's a good tackling machine. He on the sides, but he's a good tackling machine. The two, you got Rose coming back. That was a plus, but I think you should have kept Tutter. Tutter was better than me. A couple pieces they got, they could have. I think they're good to go. But you got to look at it. Cam got a lot of thread on his tires. Granderson, he's good, but he's not no breakout star player that you can get out of him. And offensive wise, you got to go what you got with Carr. You need like Coach was saying, you need another tight end. I think a big body that could jump up and down like Kyle Pitts. And maybe another guard, a good guard you could take in the draft. And I think you need a big possession receiver like the guy from Florida State. He a good possession guy, 6'6". Another Marcus Cousins, somebody a security blanket. You can kind of get. He's not gonna kill you too much on the speed, but he can turn his back to you like a post-up player in the NBA and catch a couple passes. That's what you kind of need. And somebody that you would get a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 13. Somebody that ain't gotta really try to run 30 yards downfield. Somebody could just run 5, 6 yards, catch it and fall backwards for a first down. So you kind of couple of players they got in this draft they could get, and you could hit on it in this draft right here. Like Coach saying, you could get 3 on defense and 3 on offense. I believe this is the draft. You probably can do something like this, like 2017 or 2016 when they had the good drafts and stuff like that. I believe this is one of them drafts like this, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. You made some excellent points. I agree with most of what you said. The point I'm gonna disagree with in terms of uh, Shy Tuttle. Shy Tuttle was a good defensive tackle. I think he kind of tailed off last year. He wasn't as good as he was early in his career as a Saint. But in terms of maybe he's a little bit better than Malcolm Roach, but in terms of value, I think for what you're gonna pay Malcolm Roach, I think it's better to keep Roach and let Tuttle go as opposed to overpaying Tuttle and not having Roach. I prefer Roach over Tuttle in terms of actual value. And in terms of Pete Warner, he's undersized. I mean, he made, I ought to give him credit. He made some plays last year, but I think he might have been a little bit overrated from the standpoint of, people were just so high on him, like he was like a Patrick Queen type player. He was a good playmaker, but I think he got a little bit too much praise in terms of, him being like this all-world tackling machine. He was a good outside linebacker. I mean, he wasn't like he was the second coming of DJ Williams or Ian Gold or anybody like that, but he was a good solid player, but he wasn't no star by no stretch of the imagination, in my opinion.
But on that level, on that point, Coach, like you could also draft you a good young D tackle, but as seeing a star on this D in this draft as a D tackle, I don't see any. You know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I don't see any stars in this draft here. And I think you kind of need secondary help worse than anything because you're lacking in that secondary. With these older guys, yeah, they might have the veteran leadership, but as somebody running sideline to sideline, I don't see none of these guys to do that. You know, Hunter Bass, he's like 33. Mays, he's late 20s, early 30s. John Abraham on that same level, so you can go and get you a good young safety for that you could bring along. That these older guys kind of teach them the game, and you bring that one out. My bad, I'm sorry. You can bring that along with them, and Pete Warner and Davis. You can let them. The Saints mostly play nickel the whole year round. Nickel, little dime package. You never really run out the 4-3 or none of that. So you can keep what you got at linebackers. And I think we're kind of good coach on the line. There ain't really no big debating. We're kind of straight on the line. We got a good D line. But my biggest concern, if we had to have a concern for the Saints, is the offense. I know we got Michael Thomas. I know we got Olavier and Shaheed, and I think you need a tight end that can count. Well, yeah, I mean everybody excited about him, but he's up and down player to me. He might have a good game, then maybe 3 weeks before you have another one. You need a tight end that you go to. All right, then it's time to get the ball down the field. What kind of matchup we got going on, and that kind of plays into your offensive coordinator staff too.
So let me ask you this, guys. With the strategies that y'all are speaking about player-wise, and do you see, because I noticed that the Saints had something special going when they won the Super Bowl that year. They had people like Jimmy Graham. He was able to go over his opponents and reach up in the air and grab the ball and bring it down. And, and they had key pieces that work together to make things happen. Do you see, and I heard Ruth say he didn't see many players out there for this draft that was able to make things happen. Are there any players that you maybe can work with that can make things happen to get to the Super Bowl for 2023, 2024?
Well,
they got a lot of great talent in it. Oh, my bad.
Oh, no, you go, Root, go.
I said they got a lot of great players in this draft that you could, like this guy from Florida State, Wilson. He a security blanket. The guy from Georgia, 6'7", Washington. If you put them two pieces on your team, I guarantee you, that bring your offense up a whole lot. That's a lot of height, size, and that's what you kind of need. And you got speed, you got killer speed all across the board. But sometimes you need more than speed. You need these big old guys that can jump up one-on-one. Line them out. All right, I'm gonna see if I draft this guy from Georgia, Washington. I'm gonna put him out here on a 5'10" cornerback. He's 6'7". That's a win all day. Look like to me, huh?
Yeah.
If I got this dude from Florida State, Washington, you saw LSU couldn't do nothing with him, dog. Every time you drop back, they throw the ball to him. I mean, you could transfer this to the league. He might not be the best route runner. He might not have the most killer speed, but his body. You can't buy a body like that. 6'6", 6'7", somebody that you could just lob the ball up to go get it,
Well,
okay, Coach.
Well, yeah, we'll bring up some valid points. Well, that particular year, to correct you, K, Jeremy Shockey was the starting tight end, and Jeremy Shockey was a beast. But they had weapons all over the field. They had Reggie Bush. They had Rude Dog guy Robert Meacham. They had Henderson.
Well, that was just to give you one example. Yeah, I'm not saying that he was the only one going and making things happen.
No. But I'm saying I understand what you're saying. But the thing that made their offense so explosive and so dynamic was the fact that the defense just couldn't double one guy because they had so many weapons across the board, and Breeze was just kind of, hey, it was pick your poison. If you take away Meacham, he'll go to Henderson. Take away Henderson, he'll go to Shockey. You take away all of those guys, you go to Reggie Bush. So he had so many weapons that you really couldn't take away any one particular guy, and then you had other guys like, Mike Bell and Pierre Thomas. Lance Moore. They were so deep that you really couldn't, like single out one guy in terms of doubling or taking that guy away or whatever the case may be.
Marcus
So
Colston.
Colston, yep. I mean, they were a deep team. They were dynamic. They were phenomenal. And the thing about it is,
Mike
from this,
Bell.
I say Mike Bell already.
Oh, all right.
But the point I'm trying to make is essentially what I was saying is you won't get back to that point where you got those kind of guys. Now, I know in terms of like, with their mock draft, some people speculate that they're going to take Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer. Supposedly he could be this like Jimmy Graham, like Jeremy Shockey type guy in terms of guy that go over the middle and make big plays, a guy that you can flex out wide, split out wide, and the phase, that type of guy. So if he's still on the board, they definitely should take him. But from what I'm understanding, more than likely he probably won't be there. I think the Saints are hoping that he could fall to them, but I don't think he's still going to be on the board. And other like draft analysts and draft experts expect that the Saints are going to take Clemson defensive tackle Brian Breesy. Supposedly, like he could fill a void in terms of the Saints have a lot of depth at defensive tackle, so maybe you could put him next to a Malcolm Roach, Street, or whoever the case may be, whoever they have at defensive tackle. More than likely, it's probably going to be Malcolm Roach. So that's what they kind of anticipate in terms of one of those two guys. But if you could get that guy Michael Mayer, that kind of be like maybe like a Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey type guy. I mean, it'll take the offense up a whole nother level because, like Rue was saying, Jawan Johnson is a good, decent receiving tight end. Adam Troutman, he's just kind of more of a blocking tight end. I mean, considering that the Saints took him with a second-round pick, third-round pick, whatever, he really hasn't paid a whole lot of dividends. He's on the last year, his rookie deal. More than likely, the Saints going to let go of Adam Troutman because he has 1 year left on his deal, and Jawan Johnson has 1 year left on his deal. So if they can get him a tight end, I think that's probably the direction they're going to go in.
Okay, Rue, what are your thoughts? Do you think they should go defensive-wise, or should they go offense in their first round pick in the draft?
It depends. If this guy from Georgia's still out there, I'm going with the tight end. Might say I'm wrong, but I'm going with the tight end. If not, I'm going with the dude Miles Murphy from Clemson, the defensive end. He a beast. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could give you help in case somebody go down. And we need safety help pretty bad. So if Washington out there, I'm going offense. If we not, we're going defense. I know the guy, like Coach did not say it, from Notre Dame. He's a good player, but he's not that player that I'm like, could jump balls. He's like a more possessive guy, like, probably a good wide body, don't get me wrong, but I think you need better than him. I might be wrong, but I think you need this guy at Washington. He reminds me so much of Kyle Pitts, somebody like Darian Wilder, even a little bit of Travis Kelce, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that can run deep and jump and make plays, That's what you kind of need in your offense to be successful. Like when y'all said the Saints won the Super Bowl that year. But when they won that Super Bowl that year, they had everything. They were firing on the spot. But to me, I still don't think that was the best offense even that year they won the Super Bowl. I think the year when they played the 49ers, 2012, when they had Jimmy Graham, you had Colston, you had Sproles, you had so many weapons, bro. Pierre Thomas, the list goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? So that offense, they were clicking on all cylinders. You couldn't stop them from nothing. That's when you was getting 50 points a game, 40 points a game. This man they had the fantasy was big as it is now. You couldn't go wrong with them players in fantasy. Big offense, but I think you need somebody like that to help Carl, They're doing all this for Carl. I hope Carl don't let these people down because they get them the keys and birthday cakes and welcome their family to New Orleans and the French Quarter and look good down here. Yeah, we play jazz music, we eat crawfish. Yeah, we drink daiquiris. But Cole, you got to come out and play, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. You got a lot of pressure on your back. I wouldn't want that pressure. I tell people, hold on, man. Don't put all that pressure on me because now you got to come out and win. You can't afford to lose because one thing about the city of New Orleans, we could be behind you 100%, but you lose a couple times. Y'all know, for example, at Orlando, my mama, whatever. Hey, get him out that game. That ball don't play good. You know that they give James a chance. You know, oh that boy, that garbage. They give him that kind of money. So you know, as Carl, bro, just keep it forward, bro, and they need to get more weapons to help him out. Make sure y'all got enough to help him out because Michael Till get frustrated.
So, what do you think their strategies should be that they should need to address, Rue? For the best, what are the best players they think they should address?
You need to go out and get you a security blanket. As a security blanket, you need to go get this guy 6'7", 6'6", somebody that you can lob and throw the ball to. You know, a lob here, dog, he can get open. But I think if you put the best cornerback on another team, it'll give him some trouble. All right. Speed, he good going deep. You never saw him really make no plays underneath that could be like, wow, man. Maybe this the year, but I think you got to go get your security blanket. Security blanket is somebody 6'7", long arms, a jump that will go get you a ball. Remember that. Security blanket, that's what we need.
Oh,
So
hey,
Coach.
no, just kind of rebut what he was saying. Now, he was right in terms of the bet, when they lost to the 49ers that year, that was the best offense they potentially had. But you got to realize the defense was nowhere near as good as the year they won the Super Bowl. You didn't have a Sharper on the back end making all them plays. They didn't have as many takeaways. And then teams kind of caught up to Greg Williams' blitz scheme. So all those exotic blitzes he was doing the year before, teams really couldn't stop. They caught up to him the next year. So just
they caught up with him. They caught up with him in the long run. Period. Paying people under the table. Sharper can't keep his hand off these women. You know what I'm saying? They caught up with him. Hargrove, another one. All these guys. Where my money? Where my money at, Bobby? Bobby over creating all them. When all that gone and the money stopped, they show you how you jumping down like a hill. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, yeah, it wasn't. But you know that 2012 offense, no, nobody can stop that. Them boys was scoring like it was nothing.
Yeah. And, hey, that game was a shootout, but the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed though, bro. Defense can.
Hey, all right, great point, Scott.
But just to kind of address your question, I think their draft strategy should be just take the best player available. We talk about Michael Mayer. We talk about getting a security blanket at tight end. Talk about defensive talent from Clemson, Brian Breesy. But if I were them, the draft strategy that they had the most success with over the years, because I remember one year they took Robert Meacham. People are like, why did they take Robert Meacham? They don't need a wide receiver. Them taking Reggie Bush, whatever the case may be. They always had a tendency to the years that they had the most success, even when they got Lattimore and Ramczyk and Kamara, the years that they had the most success in terms of their draft is just taking the best player available. So if the best player available is a free safety, a strong safety, a tight end, a defensive tackle, don't get me wrong, you want to fill your needs, but you want to get the best player that's on the draft board that's available. So like I said, if it's Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer, if he fall in your lap and you want him, you take him. If it's defensive tackle from Clemson, Brian Breesy, no matter who it is. So whatever player that's available, that's the best player on the board. If I were the Saints, I would say, you know what? Hey, we need a tight end. I'm gonna get that guy. We need a strong safety, a free safety, a defensive. We need an offensive lineman, whatever the case may be. So whatever that best player on your draft board that's available, I will get that guy.
Do you agree with that, Rue? Rue, do you agree with that? Do you think you should take your best available player from the draft?
Yeah, I think for sure you must get what you exactly need. Now, if that's a position like a tackle or something, I wouldn't take a tackle because I think you got enough as a tackle or whatever like that. But if it's like a real position you really need, like as a blitz end someone that caliber, then yeah, I think you should go for it. The best player on the board.
Okay, so guys, are there anything that you would like to address uh, before we close out on any of the topics that we have discussed?
Go to Rue first. Go, Rue.
Rue?
No, I think we covered.
Coach, is there anything else you would like to address?
Well, before we wrap it up, it was another good show. Hopefully, the youngest of the bunch, Raymond, will be back with us next week. Shout out to Raymond. He couldn't be with us today, so shout out to Raymond. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC. Shout out to everybody that came in and joined the show. Check me and my brother out, Jared 11 Green, for Southern Ballers. For Southern Ballers Talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. So Southern Ballers Talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC. And also, I know Rude Dog gonna have something to say. He like to be funny, but shout out to the greatest university in the world, Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars.
Who mighty Jaguar?
Okay.
Come on, Rooster. What you gotta say?
Fine.
What you gonna say? Shout out to Grambling, shout out to Jackson State. Come on, say what you gotta say, bro.
Shout out all the other Southern black colleges up Southern. Take that off, man. Let's go the other way.
Okay. Look, we're not gonna do Southern University. That is our alumni.
Look, hey, you got 3 alumni that graduated from Southern University on this show. You know what I'm saying? You're lucky Raymond ain't here too. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, I'm gonna be broadcasting live from Southern Spring Game next weekend, next Saturday at 3 p.m. You know what I'm saying? So I got to get a couple of videos on that too. You know what I'm saying?
So guys, let the people know how can they follow you, and we want to say Raymond was missed today, but we will catch him next week. Rue, how can the people catch up with you? How can they see you if they would like to view you anytime during the week? Let them know.
All y'all gotta do is come on down this way and smell that pot. You heard me? Y'all come down here, smell that good pot. That way you gonna find me. Follow me at Rudy Harvey,
Okay, Coach, how can the people follow you?
All right, first here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV. You can catch me on Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. So on all social media platforms at Coach 67 Sports TV. Like I say, check me out tomorrow at Jared 11 Green at 5 p.m. Southern Baller Show. Also, tonight, later on tonight, I'm gonna give my post fight analysis of Caleb Plant, David Benavidez. I also did a pre-fight breakdown, pre-fight analysis of David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. They're gonna fight tonight, so I'm probably gonna go live a little bit later on tonight to kind of give my post-fight analysis. So check out the videos. I'm almost up to 100 videos on this platform, so check me out here on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all social media platforms at Coach 67 Sports TV.
Okay, people, we want to say like, comment, subscribe, follow, and share for more. And if you have any comments that you would like to share with us or any topics you want us to discuss, please comment in the section down below. And also, we're going to close with a quote by Billie Jean King. She says, sports teaches you character. It teaches you to play by the rules. It teaches you to know what it feels like to win and lose. It teaches you about life. So, people, we want to thank you for tuning in with us. Thank you for loving our show. See you next week.
Shout out Virginia Baptist Church.
Blessings, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
Quick on the bread.